Okay, so that we're continuing our Shiurim, Torah and history, and particularly on the framework of the Vilna Gaon timeline for the Geula, and explaining the various people and concepts and steps, step by step, that Klal Yisrael takes higher and higher until the Geula will emerge. I'd like to dedicate today's shiur to a dear friend who passed away, Rabbi Yeshua Hoffman, Yeshua ben Yosef, whose levaya was last night at Har Zaytim. And he was a very special person, an extraordinary Talmud Chacham and a scholar, and a dear friend, and he was zoche to be buried near his great Rabbi, Rabbi Aaron Soloveitchik, Zechatzat Bracha, who is a Talmud Muvhak. And so I will say Lialias Nishmaso. Okay. Let's start today from something we began last time, but I wanted to fill in the blanks. And that was the issue of the Sheva Kochvei Lechet, the 7 planets, as representing 7 days of the week, and according to the Vilna Gaon, representing the 6 millenniums, the groups of 1,000 years, which we proceed towards the Geula, which also correspond, according to the Vilna Gaon, to the days of creation. So literally, they correspond to the days of creation in several ways, as we'll explain. So we'll start something from the Baal HaTurim. The Baal HaTurim said in the end of Parshas Emor an explanation as to why the last pasuk of Parshas Kadosh Im goes as follows. It says, last 2 psukim, V'yisem li Kadoshim, ki Kadosh ani Adonai, va'avdil eschem min ha'amim, lios li. There's a concept of Havdalah. Hashem separates the nations of the world from us from the nations of the world. V'ish o isha, ki tiyeh vahem ov o yidoni, and if a person, or man or woman, would seek out the advice of an ov and a yidoni. Who knows what an ov and a yidoni are? Right. That they communicate with the, how shall I say, other dimension of life, the spirit world. Whether that spirit world means people who passed away, whether the spirit world means malachim, or more accurately, shadim, which are kind of quasi-malachim, but they're negative forces, as it were. And the Gemara speaks about them at length in Maseches Brachos. That's why one of the reasons you're not supposed to go to a cemetery and so on by yourself, and there's a concept called sichas shadim. So they try to communicate, and apparently they have the ability to communicate with the other side. Reveal Sarah this year. Okay, say that. Again, him. Say it. Okay, fine. Because I mentioned Rabbi Hoffman, so you're mechazik you. Okay, so now, why is the final pasuk of Parshas Kadosh Im, which is filled with many, many mitzvahs? How many mitzvahs are there in Parshas Kadosh Im? Do you know? So it's a machlokas. And this is what the Baal HaTurim is talking about. According to the Monei HaMitzvos, like the Rambam, that compile the list of the 613 mitzvos, like in Sefer Chinuch and so on, they count 51 mitzvos in Parshas Kadosh Im. That's a lot of mitzvos, including Kadoshim Tiyu, Ki Kadoshani, which means a person should go beyond the letter of the law, as the Ramban says. You shouldn't be a menuvel b'rshus haTorah. You shouldn't be halachically correct, but in midos, not ethical. Let's put it that way. Not lacking character. I put it that way. So a person wants to eat strictly kosher, but eats like a glutton, right? So they're menuvel b'rshus haTorah. The way they eat, because there's 2 ways to eat. You either eat to live or live to eat. Those are your 2 options. So you have to decide, and everybody's on the continuum. What are we? Are we living to eat? We're looking forward so much to eating? Oh, I'm sorry. And or is it just that we are following a discipline to eat healthy food and so on, that we should be strong to be Oved Hashem. And in Shabbos, giving a little leeway for that the idea of Tanug and Shabbos extends that a little bit, Neshama Yisera, but often Klali, what's it all about? So, among 51 mitzvos, but the Medrash says 70 mitzvos. And the question is why? And the Balaturim answers as follows. The Balaturim answers that Shivim mitzvos beParshas Kadosh Im keneged Shivim umos shehivdalti eschem mihem. 70 mitzvos against 70 nations. Just like the 70 nations are divided from Am Yisrael, we are separated from them. There's Havdalah. So too, we have 70 mitzvos in Parshas Kadosh Im, which means that these mitzvos were in another parsha, but they're reiterated in Parshas Kadosh Im. Like you have a lot of the mitzvos from the Aseret HaDibros, Shabbos, etc., repeating themselves in Parshas Kadosh Im, right? But a little bit differently, because we're speaking there to another dimension of the mitzvah. And those that are repeated, meaning that the Kedusha aspect of it, that part of the purpose of a mitzvah is not only to create a connection to Hashem, but to repair what the rest of the world was not able to achieve. In other words, the 70 nations, and this Rav Nachman explains, each have a fundamental connection to a certain Yetzer Hara, a certain problem. The arch Yetzer Haras, as we know, are what? Which are the main three problems? As your Motzim, as Adam and Olam. It's also Pirkei Avos. We're learning Pirkei Avos now. Kina, V'hakavod, V'hataiva. Those three Averos, Kina, jealousy, right? Taiva is just, the lust for food or for physical gratification. And kavod, the desire for a personal honor, and not as opposed to kavod shemayim. Those are the three core averos. The nations of the world each have a permutation of those, or a combination of those, that prevented them from reaching the Havdalah point, from being separated out and being selected for service to Hashem. So that's Am Yisrael. The Jewish people were separated by from these 70 nations. There, hence, 70 mitzvahs of Kedusha. So that's the job of a Jewish person, is not only to do mitzvahs, but to achieve a level of Kedusha. But only Avram Aveeno was the first of individuals on the planet that ever lived that was able to be identified as inherently kadosh, in such a sense that he deserved to be separated, and he was separated from the nations of the world. Okay. The problems that we have today are generally where people associate themselves with Avraham's covenant, right? And claim Avram's covenant, whether they're the Muslims or whether they're the Christians or whoever they are, basically the Muslims and the Christians, they're the ones who want to say we are the ones that were separated and we are therefore the chosen ones as well, and to whatever extent that they believe. Okay, so that process of separating took 2,000 years. The first 2,000 years of creation were Tohu Vavohu, as we said, the Gemara Sanhedrin. The second 2,000 years are Torah, where Torah was taught to the world, beginning with Avram Aveeno. He's considered the first person to teach Torah. He intuited many of the concepts of Torah before the Torah was given, and some he was taught, and some he received as a Masorah from Adam HaRishon. Collectively, he was the first to teach Torah. Okay, now, so one of the ideas is that the world, therefore, the 70 nations, if you want to understand it this way, and why is it 70 nations? Because there are both 10 and 7 sephiros. Okay? So let's review this point. Ready? Very important. We all know, because this is integral to Sfiras HaOmer, right? Does anybody know what day we're in of Sfiras HaOmer? Today is 27. Esrim B'Sheva Yom, which is 3 weeks and 6 days. Okay? The third week is, we have the week of Chesed, the week of Gevura, the week of Tiferes, okay? So we completed the week of Tiferes with day 21. So now we are in we're in the cycle of Netzach, the 7-week cycle of Netzach, the 7 times 7 and 49, and the 50th day is Shavuos. So today is the transition of the week, right? Because this is the final day, the 6th day of this week, and then we'll begin a new week, the 28th day being the finalization of that, and then we move on to Hod. Okay, so let's understand. Said the Vilna Gaon the following connections. Number 1, the 7 days of the week correspond to the 7 days of creation. Okay, so Shabbos has to start in the year 6000 because that's the 7th day. And we are therefore in the middle of which day? Past the midway point of which day? The 6th day, which corresponds to the Midah of Yesod. Yesod. Okay? Now, we all know that the 7 days also correspond to the 7 Sephiros. Okay? The Sephiros, each one, as we said, Chesed, Gvur, Tiferes, are what the Avos are Ushpizin, right? Are Ushpizin championed or redeemed. Avram redeemed the Midah of Chesed. He turned Chesed the way he did Chesed in the manner that Hashem wanted. Okay? And there's a pasuk that says that the nations of the world, which were not able to jump over the Havdalah line, right? They do Chesed also, but it's a Chesed that is not the intention of Hashem. In fact, what do we say? Chesed le'umim chatas. The chesed that a non-Jewish nation does inherently has a sin within it. Just to think of an example, all the monies that are poured into, for example, right, for chesed, they're given to the poor children of, let's say, our neighbors here in Gaza, and then what is it turned into? Tunnels to murder people. Or money that's given, it's used to pay the salaries of terrorists. So certainly in their hearts, they'll say, oh, we were here to do chesed. We want to do chesed. We believe in chesed. But it's a chesed which, because it doesn't have the discipline and guidance of Torah, ends up being a chatat. And that's the thing. The Torah takes the midah and aims it in the proper direction. You don't know what chesed is until you ask a shaila what chesed is. Get to the root of it. Is it mutter? Is it usser? That tells me it's really a chesed or not. Okay, so Avram was podeh, redeems the mitzvah, the proper attitude towards chesed. Yitzchak, gvura, right? Yaacov, tiferes. Put that aside for a second. And then comes who's next? Netzach and Hod is Moshe and Aaron. And then finally, who's number 6? Yosef HaTzadik. We are in the millennium of Yosef the Tzaddik. We're past the midway point right now. The midway point, as we said, of the day, of the 6th day, was the year 5750, otherwise known as 1990. Okay, we're way past the midpoint now. We're 27 years beyond that point. And in the day, it also corresponds to hours. We passed, if you want to take it in terms of minutes of the clock, we're past Chatzos. And actually, we're ready for Mincha Gedola. Mincha Gedola is Chatzos plus a half an hour. And we are already past that point. Okay, in the year 2010, which is 7 years ago. And every minute corresponds to about 8 months. Okay, so you do the math. 7 years times 8, 56 months. How many minutes does that come out to? So again, if 56 months is 12 times 5 is 60, so it's about 5 seconds on the clock, 5 minutes on the clock more, and therefore you're past 12:35. We are well into the zone of Mincha. Wow. When when Mincha is coming, we're already really getting ready for the next day. We're here. That point changed in 2010. Okay. And here we are. So So we're in the zone of Yesod and Yosef. But let's think about it in terms of not only that, but in terms of the planets that we started to discuss. You ready? Okay, hang on tight. Fasten your seatbelts, fasten your rocket ship seatbelts. We're going to go on a little outer space tour. Okay. How many, we mentioned last time that there are 7 visible planets. Not an accident. 7 visible planets correspond to 7 days of the week. And if they correspond to 7 days of the week, says the Vilna Gaon, they each represent a millennium of history. They embody something, and they therefore also personify one of the midos. The question is, what are those 7 planets, and where are we now, and how we can use that as more information to what's going on? So, there's in Yahadus, in Torah, there is the following configuration of the planets as handed down to us by our Masorah. It's a Gemara in Shabbos, Daf Kuf Chav Tes, Shabbos 129b. And it also appears a different way in our davening on Shabbos, known as Keil Adon. You know Keil Adon? Keil Adon. So, at the end of Keil Adon, we say the following: Shevach Nosnim Lo Kol Tzva Maron, then Tiferes. Okay? So the Shlach Kadosh writes in his commentary to the Siddur that the end of Keil Adon is referring to those mazolos. This is what he says. He says, Roshei Tevos Shel Shevach Nosnim Merumzim Le Zayin Kochos Lech. They represent the 7 planets. She'al Yedehem Mashpiyim Yud Beis Mazolos. What this means is, the mazalos are stars, they're constellations. The sky is divided into 12 segments. As the earth rotates, well, however you want to say, earth rotating around the sun, our tradition is not that the earth rotates around the sun, but that the earth is the point of perspective. We focus on earth. We don't focus on the sun. And as the earth goes about its, as the world goes about its lechet, its orbits, we see 12 constellations. Every month, a different one rises on the horizon, right? So in Nisan, you're going to see Teleh. You're going to see the constellation representing the Aries constellation. That's the Seh, that's the Teleh, will be rising on the horizon. And then the next month, you'll have the Mazel of Shor, right? Taurus rising on the horizon. And our belief, and the Ramchal and all the Kadoshim teach us, that through these heavenly planets, there is a connection between Hashem and the world. Hashem runs his world through the agency of these heavenly bodies. In other words, they have a certain inherent koach, and therefore they have jurisdiction, I'm going to say, over that period of time. So for example, and this is a whole different subject, because what do we say about Klal Yisrael? Ein Mazel Yisrael. Yes, there is a system running the world, but the Jewish people have protectia. We go right over the system, right to the boss. Okay, you know, it's like a corporation or a government agency. You got to go through get official permissions from this clerk, from that clerk. You don't get it, you don't get past this bureaucratic level, but if you are, if the CEO is your uncle or your father, right? You write him a note, and the next thing you know, you're taken through 15 different offices, and you end up in the front in the CEO's office on the calendar. Even if you're not on the calendar, you get. I say about the big tzaddikim, they just go in any time. They just go in any time. Choni Ma'agel, it says in the Gemara, he used to boss Hashem around, so to speak. They wanted to put him in Chayrim. You know why? The Gemara tells us, he says, Hashem, we need rain. So they go to Choni Ma'agel, he starts to daven, and so a little bit of rain comes. Choni Ma'agel says, that's not good enough. We need stronger rain than that. Okay, so stronger rain comes. No, we need rain that's going to fill up all the bores and the cisterns and everything. Okay. And then they were like, they said to him, listen, if not for the fact that you're Choni Ma'agel, we're going to put you in Chayrim, because how dare you, Ki'ilu, in your davening, boss God around? Who are you? You're Choni Ma'agel. Because Baruch Hu is fine with that. Just like a father is not going to, right? You have a kid, Now, a long time ago, there used to be mayor of New York, Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Remember Rudy Giuliani? It was actually a big Ohev Yisrael. I actually honored him at my shul dinner once when he was running for mayor. He was very, very gracious and very pro-Israel. And I tell you, in my eyes, he has a schus that he was the only leader in that case as mayor of New York who tossed Yasser Arafat out the door from, and is nobody. And fortunately, even the current president is still giving kavod to these murderers and terrorists. And yet, there was one person who stood up to him, and I think he has a great schus for that. In any case, so he had a son who was very unruly. I don't know if you remember that. And he used to bring him to the press conferences. And this kid was acting out, and I don't know, screaming, shouting, putting on his baseball cap, and he didn't do anything. He was like, this kid is disrupting the entire press conference, mayor. But that's my son. So tough luck on you. And that's the story of Am Yisrael. Yeah, there's a system. There's a mayor and a government, and there's police and security, and that's the kochavim and the mazalos. But we're the banim l'Hashem, and therefore, too bad. But we have to find favor in Hashem's eyes, right? And we can't be too much of a problem, because if we're too much of a problem, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu might discipline us by sending us into some sort of galus or hestapon. But Hashem did create the world with a system. So what is that system? So the Gemara says, the Shlach Kadosh says, first of all, that's the order. Shevach corresponds to Shabtai, Saturn. Nosnim, Noga, otherwise known as Venus. Lo stands for Levana, the moon. Kol, Kochav, Mercury. Called Tzeva Maram Tzedek is Jupiter, and Maram is Ma'adim, Mars. And then Tiferes is a reference to the sun. So those are all the 7. However, although that is the case, as the Shla points out, in the davening, in the Gemara we find a different order. And the Gemara says as follows, fascinating thing. And this is our Masorah. It's important to know our Masorah. Our Masorah is that when the stars, planets, and constellations were created, it was the 4th day of 4th day of creation. And it was created in the following way. Each one of the planets was in charge of 1 hour. They were the boss of that hour. They served Hashem, so to speak. They were the minister on call. Just like Esther Hamalka. How many maidens did she have? 7. So, Ki'ilu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has 7 maidens, 7 servants. These planets that come and serve him 1 hour at a time in a constant rotation. What are they? I would like you to mark this down because it's going to be important to see, if you can. Shevach, the Shabtai or Saturn was the first in hour 1. So as the world was going into the 4th day, the first hour, meaning the nighttime of the 4th day, was the hour of Shabtai, and then came the hour of Tzedek, which is Jupiter. Then came the hour of Ma'adim, which is Mars. So Shatzam, Shin, Tzadik, Mem, and then Chen, Chama, which is the sun. Nun, which is Noga, Venus. Kaf, which is Kochav, Mercury, and Lamed, which is Levana. Okay, Levana, the moon. Now, that's our Masorah. Says the Mefarshim, and the Rambam writes about it, says, but everybody knows that if you want to go in terms of distance, which is the furthest one of the 7? Well, in terms of the planets, well, the furthest from us was 93 million miles, right? That's the sun is the furthest, right? So then why are you putting Shabtai first? And why is the sun all the way in number 4? So it's not based on their position in the sky, says the Rambam, because there is no correlation between any astronomical reality and this order. None. But it's a koach hanefesh, so to speak. That Chazal, this is our MS, our Chazal say, this is how it goes. And it's part of our Masorah. Nothing to talk about. So what is it teaching us? What does it mean? So much so that the Gemara said an interesting thing. Based on this, if you start the world spinning in that order, Shin, Tzadik, Mem, Chet, Nun, Kuf, Lamed, and then it repeats itself, it comes out that there's 2 days where the day begins, either the night or the day begins under the jurisdiction of Tzedek, of Jupiter. That would be Monday morning and Monday night and Thursday morning. In other words, Sunday night, Ki'ilu, right? The beginning of Monday is Jupiter's hour, Tzedek's hour, and then and Thursday morning. What does Monday and Thursday have in common, by the way? And what else? Yeah, Kriyas Torah. What else happens on Mondays and Thursdays, which is the reason why? What? Yes, that's true. Why? Because those days we have Dinei Torah, the Batei Din sat. And there's also the day of the market. And that's one of the reasons the Batei Din sat on those days, because everybody was around and engaging in commerce. And they needed to know halacha, simple halachas. They ask shailas, makachol memkar, sale, right? They have to ask questions, and you need the authorities there, especially in Dinei Mamanosim. Okay? But all kinds of things. Isser v'heter. It's a day of judgment, says the Gemara. Therefore, in the name of Shmuel, who was one of the greatest authorities on the Kochvei Lechet, he was in the Gemara considered the most knowledgeable of all of the heavenly bodies and their operations. He said, don't get a surgery, don't go for surgery. In those days, what was the big surgery? If you didn't feel good, you went to the doctor, and what did they do to you in those days? Bloodletting, exactly. They would let out blood because they felt that either too much blood or too little blood, or the blood was poisoned with something, or whatever it was, like is infected, which is not a bad concept, actually, if you think about it. Change the blood and you have a whole new chiyus. So he said, but don't do it on Sunday night and Thursday morning, because then you have a problem. That's a time of tzedek, which is, but tzedek tishbar, that's a time of judgment, right?
So Thursday might mean Wednesday night also, like you're saying?
No. The way the hours run, the way the 7 planets rotate, every planet gets 1 out of every 7 hours. It just so happens that tzedek gets hour 1 of Monday, meaning Sunday night. It also gets hour 1 of Thursday day. You understand? So Sunday night and Thursday morning. Sunday night and Thursday morning.
You mean 1300 on Thursday? Like 1 p.m.?
No, 6 a.m. so to speak. If you think of a perfect day with 12 hours and 12 hours, right? And it does have 12. We just adjust the minutes according to Sha'ot Zmaniot. It is always divided into 12. Why 12? There are 12 mazalos. 12 is a very, very important number. But we're not going to go into that right now. But these 7 mazalos, these 7 kochvei lechet, right, are each taking their turn. And that means that they each have a unique quality or property that during that hours manifest. Okay? They exert some sort of divine influence. Yeah.
Does it also work on Shabbos? They have the
Yes. Okay. In fact, it's interesting that Shabbos is, well, the day one starts with, which is Sunday, starts with Kochav, which is Mercury. So we don't really, because why? Because everything is charted from Wednesday night. From Tuesday night. That's the start point. Which shows you a tremendous, tremendous thing. All calendars in the world either begin from which day or which day. If you're in America, what's the first day of the week? If you're in Israel, what's the first day of the week? Sunday, right? And Shabbos is the end. What's really the real calendar? According to our Masorah, based on this. What's the first day of the week?
Tuesday.
Not really.
B'yas ha'olam.
But based on B'riyas Ha'olam, the concept of time began on began on Wednesday. Why? Because Shabbos is really the center of the week.
No, but Sunday when it says Yom Echad, that's why you couldn't call it Yom Rishon, it was called Yom, that's a whole separate.
Well, yeah, Yom Echad because Hashem was
The
Echad.
time concept, there couldn't be a first until you have something in place.
But there was no time on day
Right,
one.
That's why it's called Yom Echad and not Yom Rishon. But
Correct.
From there on end, it became.
Well,
One day you already have Yom Sheni, you have what to say it's the second two, and the third is to say what the other.
yes, but we say Hayam Rishon l'Shabbos, true. But in reality, we know that Shabbos should be planted dead center of the week, so that you have 3 days to the right and 3 days to the left. That Shabbos gives its influence backwards 3 days and forward 3 days. Where is this manifest in halacha? What's that?
There's like some yeshivas, I'm saying everybody does their own thing, but you could still do last week's parsha up until Wednesday, and from Wednesday on,
Correct, if you have to catch up. And also, what else can you do? Very good, because the Torah, you can catch up Havdalah. You can actually recite Havdalah till Tuesday, which is, right, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, which is the 3 days going forward. So if you really want to make a calendar based on Chazal, right, you should plant Shabbos in the dead center, because that's the reality that we speak to here. Each Shabbos has a residual hashpa'ah on the previous 3 days, and also it's also, how shall I say, also having exerting some influence on, it's overlapping. In fact, each Shabbos overlaps, so there's always 2 Shabbosim overlapping and sharing influence on 3 days. Right? So, have to understand that. Now, given that that's the reality, and this is what Chazal teaches, and again, it's the Gemara of Shabbos Kuf Chav Tes. It's also in Gemara in Eruvin, Samech Vav. This is it. I mean, there is nobody that argues on this. It is a bedrock truth of Yahadus. So we have to comprehend it a little bit, bring it in as part of our thinking here. Okay.
What's about Shabbos being in the middle of the week?
That time started on Wednesday, which places Shabbos squarely in the middle of the week. Right? Because the first day, Ki'ilu, the first day of that Shabbos, his influence starts on Wednesday, because that's the end of the jurisdiction, so to speak, of the previous Shabbos. That's why you can make Havdalah through Tuesday, because you're kind of finishing the influence of the previous Shabbos, and you're heading into the influence of the next Shabbos.
Is it connected at all to when Hashem created the sun, moon, and stars?
Precisely. The sun, moon, and stars were created on day 4, on day Yom Dalet, which is what we call Wednesday, and that's therefore the beginning of this experience of time. Hey, there is Erev Avoker, okay, prior to that, but our concept of time, I'll call it the prison of time, of which the Jewish people can escape. We're the only ones that can escape the prison of time, because we are an immortal nation. There is no time for the Jewish people. The Jewish people are all the time. That's what makes us the envy of all peoples, because it's a very big thing today, all literature and, in everything, the concept of an immortal. Everybody is fascinated by the idea of an immortal. Whatever you do to them, they don't die. It's always, you read the Tochacha, and how many times we're punished. How many klolos we receive. So I said to myself, like after 2 or 3 klolos, you're out for the count. I mean, how many klolos can you handle? Ashmideim, I'm going to destroy you here, I'm going to destroy you there, I'm going to destroy you there. Well, if you understand that we're talking about an immortal nation,